Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, our beloved viewer. It's your program once again, Healthy Check, a program where we give you medical advice regarding several diseases that may affect your health. It is a program where we bring medical personnel that are expertised in different disease programs or departments. And the topic of discussion today is brucellosis. What is brucellosis? The little research that I've managed to find is that brucellosis is a bacterial infection that spreads from animals to people. Most commonly, people are infected by eating raw or unpasteurized dairy products. Sometimes the bacteria that cause brucellosis can spread through the air or through direct contact with infected people. When I went further in as far as making a little research about this disease, I found out that it is highly contagious zoonosis caused by the ingestion of unpasteurized milk or uncooked meat from infected animals or close contact with their secretion. And it is to this reason I went and brought Dr. Baker to come and help us understand what really brucellosis is. Doctor, you're most welcome to the program. We went further and contacted my brother. We've been with him before. That is Dr. Ivan Muchunguzi, a medical personnel, but he didn't manage to be with us in the studio today, but he's online and will be following us, inshallah. Doctor, I turn to you now, Dr. Baker. Yes, may you please enlarge the explanation of brucellosis for our viewer to understand.
Thank you so much once again. I'm happy to be here with you, to be hosted here discussing this disease. Diseases affect our people so much, and we need to create awareness by all means possible for them to know so that we can combat them. Brucellosis is commonly known as Brucella in most parts of Africa, but it is not Brucella, it is brucellosis. Just Brucella is the name of the bacteria which causes it.
Okay.
So it is a highly contagious zoonotic infection. Zoonotic is a medical term to just mean from animal to human beings.
Since animals live in the zoos.
The zoo, yes. Okay. So when you say zoonotic, you just mean from animals.
Okay.
Basically caused by the bacterium called Brucella.
Okay.
That's what I can say the definition or the simple explanation of what brucellosis is. It is a zoonotic infection, highly infectious, and caused by bacterium Brucella.
Okay, doctor, what could be the symptoms and signs of brucellosis? How can one tell that this colleague of mine is suffering from Brucella? You said it's brucellosis. Okay.
Yes, yes, thank you. Now,
just a moment before you go any further. Our beloved viewer, as the doctor, just like you see on your screen, as the doctor will be explaining a few things that for your own benefit and understanding will be appearing on the screen. Just like the question that I have asked him, I thank my production team there for being so fast in providing that information. Doctor, the question still remains.
Yes.
What will be the signs and symptoms of brucellosis?
Yes. As you can see on our screen, one of the signs is headache.
Okay.
I will first explain why these signs are there. This is an infectious disease, and so it affects our bodies in the bloodstream. This will result into all the signs and symptoms of an infectious disease. As you can, if you can check on your screen there,
yes,
you can see headache. Person can have headache.
I see dry cough, I see fever.
Dry cough, you see fever, you see the lymphadenopathy. The lymphadenopathy is the swelling of the lymph nodes.
Okay.
It is
what
indicative.
Are the lymph nodes?
Lymph nodes are responsible for prevention of infection.
Okay.
They are in different parts of our bodies. As you can see on the screen, that part can have lymph nodes. Right in the thighs, you can have lymph nodes. They are responsible ideally for preventing infections.
Okay.
Now, when this infection comes in, the lymph nodes try to fight it, and they swell. That's why you can have lymphadenopathy as a sign of this brucellosis.
Okay.
Also, you can see hepatomegaly. Hepatomegaly, the liver becomes swollen. This is because this bacteria affects the liver, your liver.
Okay.
And so in a bid to fight it, the liver cells will swell, and the liver becomes swollen and painful, and that's why you have that hepatomegaly. Also, you can have muscle pains, you can have joint pains. I also cannot leave this without mentioning that its signs and symptoms somehow may resemble malaria.
Okay.
So it may go undiagnosed. I would warn our viewers, before I continue, that we have had many patients misunderstanding this Brucella for malaria. They say, "Doctor, I have malaria. Why? I have joint pains, I have fevers." Most people have crammed or have understood that any fever is malaria. Any joint pain, malaria. But it's not the case. This is brucellosis having the same signs. So a person may misunderstand and think have malaria when it is actually brucellosis. So it is very important to also check for this before a person concludes that he has fever,
Okay.
also he has malaria. Also, I cannot fail to mention another point of profuse sweating. Now, sweating happens because the body, because there is, let me put in simple language, because there is a war in the body soldiers, the white blood cells, are fighting against this enemy, Brucella, in the body. In the process of that fighting, there is heat which is produced.
Okay.
Now, because of that heat, the body tries to emit the heat away by sweating. So a person will have profuse sweating out of nowhere, like you are in this room when there is AC and you are sweating, when you have not moved an exercise.
Someone is in the rain and is sweating.
Thank you. Somebody is not running, is in the rain, but is
Someone
sweating.
has just taken bath a few minutes and is sweating.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because there is a battle, there is a war going on in the body. So that's why sweating can happen.
Okay.
Also, before I leave this point, of course, we shall not finish all of them.
Of course,
Which
there
are
are
just, there are very many. Yes, so I also can't fail to mention weight loss because of this, of the Brucella parasites, Brucella bacterium, eating up the body cells, then the weight will have to go down. So body weight, loss of body weight is a major symptom of this Brucella, plus also loss of appetite, because the person have not energy to eat,
Okay.
and so appetite will go down. So those are a few of the many signs and symptoms of Brucella, which we can look at and say, you may have Brucella.
Okay.
Which you may look at and say, go and test for Brucella to be sure.
Okay, thanks a lot, Doctor.
Yes.
This now takes me to the types of brucellosis. Does it, this bacteria, the Brucella, does it have any types through which it attacks human bodies?
Yeah, thank you, moderator, once again. The types of Brucella are named according to the host. Let me explain it. They are named according to the animal within which it produces.
Okay.
The animal within which it moves from to a human being.
Like, for example, here, we have that case more appearing from the meat from cows.
Yes. So that's called the Brucellosis abortus,
Okay.
caused by Brucella abortus.
And milk?
The same, as
Okay,
long as it's
it comes from the cow.
from
Yes.
cows,
Okay.
it is that bacterium is called the Brucella abortus. So that type of brucellosis which it causes is Brucellosis abortus.
Okay.
Specifically from cattle, those who drink milk which is not pasteurized, and they also eat meat which is not properly cooked. You know, some people have a tendency of getting meat cooking it halfway in order to save maybe fuel.
That happens most especially when they are roasting.
Exactly.
Meat is still raw with blood,
Exactly.
and they go ahead and eat it.
Yes, and they're trying to save time, especially in towns where they're making money.
Yes.
They want to roast very many and sell to very many and make money. So I'm not campaigning those who roast meat on the roads, but I want to warn the population, you should be very careful when eating those roasted meat on the road.
Because remember, there are people mistaken malaria for this disease. So
Exactly.
it might go undiagnosed,
Exactly.
and you might end up dying, not
Exactly.
knowing what has caused the death.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they may eat this meat on the roadside with this Brucella abortus. It enters them, causes them problems, these signs and symptoms, and they think it's malaria. They go for the anti-malarials and take all of them. They remain sick, and they will say they are bewitched, when actually it is this Brucella abortus from the meat of the cattle. Another point is another type of this brucellosis is called Brucella canis. Brucellosis canis. This one is from dogs.
Okay.
Unlike most countries which are Christian and Muslim countries, there are those which eat dogs. So for those who eat dogs, if they eat uncooked meat of the dog, they will get this type of Brucella. It won't be this very one of cattle, but it will be also Brucella. The signs will be the same. Another type is called Brucella meritensis. This is from the goats and the sheep.
Okay.
Those who take their meat and the sheep, and which is not properly well cooked,
yes,
that this bacteria dies, they can have it. There are also very many others,
okay,
which types of Brucella, but those are the commonest ones, which you can look at. And most of our populations have those types.
okay.
So we should make sure we go for testing regularly to be sure we don't have
In a
this.
nutshell, according to all the types that we have explained to you, I'm advising our viewer, and in case I'm wrong, I stand for correction, so please correct me. My advice would be avoid raw food.
Raw meat.
Raw meat, okay,
Yes.
sorry. Avoid raw meat, no matter the type, whether it's goat's meat, whether it's dog's meat, whether it's beef, just avoid raw meat. Doctor, now take me to the transmission process of this disease to the people.
Yeah, thank you. If you can check on your screen, you see unpasteurized dairy products. Those may be yogurt, milk, what, and you take them. Okay, a cow takes in the Brucella bacteria. It may multiplies in it, and then from that, it can result into an abortion of the cow. As well as if you eat any meat from that cow, the other bacteria which was in that animal will enter into you.
Okay.
So it moves like from the bacteria, it is in the host in the cow, multiplies there, enters its muscles and in its meat. Then when you eat anything from it, either milk or any milk products from it,
okay,
it will have that bacteria. If you eat any meat from it, it will have it, so it will go into you. If those dairy products are not pasteurized very well, then they will still be carrying that Brucella in it. So you take it in and causes the disease. Okay. The meat from that cow, which has the brucellosis bacteria, the Brucella bacteria, as long as you eat it, when it is not properly cooked, properly boiled, then you definitely get the bacteria. So it is from the bacteria into the cow, it grows in the cow, then you take the milk or eat the meat of the cow and also get it. That's how it moves. Thanks
a lot, Doctor. Okay, now let me go to my brother, Dr. Muchunguzi, who has been following us all the way from the beginning, and I promise that he will be with us, though not in the studio, but online. Dr. Muchunguzi, what could be the risk factors of brucellosis?
Okay, thank you so much, moderator of today. By names of Dr. Muchunguzi Ivan, a medical doctor with Mulago Hospital here in Uganda. Responding to the question you have asked me about the risk factors of brucellosis and the occupations which are at high risk of getting brucellosis. Yeah, like we said before, this brucellosis is an infectious disease which is transmitted from animals to humans. So generally it is a zoonotic disease in our language. It can be spread from animals to humans. And the most people who are at high risk of getting this disease, brucellosis, are mainly the people who are dealing directly or indirectly with animals or the products of animals. Among these factors, we have taking or drinking animal products which are not well cooked. Let's say, for example, taking meat and it is not well cooked, you're at high risk of getting brucellosis. Another one is taking unpasteurized milk. Drinking milk which is not well pasteurized, you can also be at risk of getting brucellosis. Then also taking milk products which are so not pasteurized, like cheese, also can put you on a risk of getting brucellosis. And then also touching directly without any protection the animal products, or like dealing with blood, you can also get brucellosis. And having said that, on the risk factors, we are having occupations, people who are working in some settings and are at high risk of getting this brucellosis. For example, like I've told you before, that dealing directly with the blood products or with the animals directly can put you on a risk. For example, these people who work in butchers, for example, the slaughter workmen, these people assisting the butchermen in butcheries are also at a high risk of getting brucellosis because they are dealing directly with the animal. So just imagine if the animal, let it be a pig, cattle, or goats, we are infected with brucellosis. These people would be at high risk of getting brucellosis. Another group of people at high risk, vegetarians. Yeah, the vegetarians, the veterinarians, these are the veterinary people. They can be veterinary doctors or the people who are handling these cattle direct, or people are taking care of the cattle.
Doctor, now I turn to you, having heard much from Dr. Ivan Muchunguzi, our medical personnel, who has not managed to be with us today. Are there any complications associated with brucellosis?
Thank you so much once again. This Brucella affects the body and can cause all those challenges in the body. That's called otitis, endocarditis, osteomyelitis. I will explain them maybe for the people to understand.
Okay.
For example, since this one affects in the blood, it also goes and affects the bone marrow. It can also cause osteomyelitis. Osteomyelitis is the inflammation of the bone, of the bones. It can be as much as terrible to affect the bones. There are other complications like liver failure or liver cirrhosis. Because I said it affects the liver first, so because the liver is affected, if it's not treated, it will be destroyed by this brucellosis, by this Brucella bacteria. So it will be having high chances of getting liver diseases, the liver failure. Now, when the liver fails, any other thing will come in. The low blood levels, which is called anemia, and many others. So these can come up as a result of undiagnosed or untreated brucellosis. So there are very many complications, but those are the few which we can talk about.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dr. Baker. Now, Dr. Ivan, before you sign out, we have one more question. Among the advice or the prevention measures that I would like you to give our viewers is that try to make sure that you do not tell us to avoid eating meat because it is almost impossible. So, doctor, find any other means that will prevent us from acquiring brucellosis. Dr. Ivan, I'm to you now.
Thank you so much, moderator, once again. Now that we're able to expose the risk factors, we have seen the risk factors for people who get brucellosis. It's good now we can know how to prevent it. Like I said it, prevention is better than cure. Once you know the cause of something, you can easily prevent it. Yeah, having talked about the risk factors and the causes of this brucellosis, we can easily prevent it by just diverting the risk factors and causes, and we moderate them. So one of the ways of preventing this brucellosis is through making sure that we drink pasteurized products like milk from cows. Before we take this milk, we should make sure that it's first pasteurized. We also have products like cheese, which are products of cows, products of milk. We should also make sure that they are first pasteurized before we can consume it. Then we should also avoid taking raw meat. There are some herdsmen who take raw meat. It's not a good behavior to take raw meat. So one of the ways of preventing this brucellosis is making sure that we take well cooked and not raw meat. Then still, if possible, the best way could be avoiding contact with these animals which are infected with brucellosis. But where we can't avoid being in contact with animals, let them be cattle, pigs, goats, or sheep, which are infected with brucellosis, at least we should have protective gears. Before handling them, those such animals should put on gloves, we should put on protective gears, which at least will help us from getting or contracting the brucellosis from animals. And then also, for the case of domestic animals which are staying with at home, we can't completely avoid them. At least we should try also to do mass vaccination of these domestic animals. Having vaccinated these animals which are staying with in our homes, it will help them to be free from contracting brucellosis, and thus with the humans we shall not be able to contract the brucellosis. So generally, those are some of the preventive measures. We had already talked about the risk factors. So it's all about putting in action what I've talked about. Otherwise, thank you so much. We can, all of us, prevent brucellosis. We can have all these protective gears. We can vaccinate these animals and shall be able to deal with brucellosis in our communities. Thank you so much, viewers, for listening to me. Thank you so much, my team, for granting me this opportunity. I remain Dr. Muchungs Ivan, a medical doctor at Uganda National Referral Hospital, Mulago.
Thanks for the time. I know you're very much occupied, but at least you have managed to give us that little time that we cried for. It was for the benefit of you, our viewer. Doctor has had out my call. He's not preventing us from eating meat. He's not preventing us from eating all the products that come from this meat or these animals, but make sure you eat pasteurized products from these animals and make sure you do not consume uncooked or unboiled or raw meat by any means. Doctor, now I turn to you. Yes, as sir. You conclude. Let's assume I have acquired or I have realized I have brucellosis. Should I, or do you have anything like first aid? Should I sit down? Should I go to the bathroom and bathe? What should I do in case I've realized that I have brucellosis? What should I do first?
Oh, thank you. What you should do first is to go to the hospital. This brucellosis is completely treatable.
Okay.
Very, very treatable using antibiotics. There's nothing to worry about. We give you antibiotics, and then we tell you to avoid what brought it, because there's what you call reinfection. You can go to hospital, you get medicines, you take, and again you eat your raw meat, which is so-called muchomo. In countries like Uganda, you again go back and eat your raw meat and you get back the brucellosis. So we encourage you go to hospital, get treatment, then put in practice the health advice given to you in the hospital or what the doctors just talked about here. Whoever is watching us, in case you have the brucella, go to hospital, you'll get some antibiotics, then avoid the reinfection of the brucella.
Okay.
You will have defeated it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. It has been a pleasure having you on our program today.
Thank you.
And our beloved viewer, from what I have acquired in as far as knowledge regarding brucellosis is concerned, is that you have gone to the hospital, diagnosed for malaria, it is negative. Diagnosed for typhoid, it is negative. My brother, do not think that you are bewitched. Just tell the medical personnel that test for the brucellosis and see if I have any in my blood, because the symptoms are almost the same, and you'll be surprised if they find that brucellosis in you. The good news that the doctor has given us is that it is curable and you can get rid of it. I can't go beyond this because it's the time that we had for today's program. I remain your host, Nambale Bashir. Don't touch your remote, cause more faith-inspiring faith-inspiring programs are still coming in. So stay tuned in till we meet next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.